I just pushed record so that you know.
I do see that.
Oh, you can see that. Okay. Hello, welcome. I'm Trina, and that's Jason,
I am.
and this is Life Divergent. In
Okay.
today's episode, we're going to be discussing 10 signs that you might have ADHD.
And those signs are not us telling you these are symptoms for diagnosis. Everything here is, I don't know, for entertainment purposes, based on real stuff we experience. Not legal advice, not medical advice. We're not lawyers or doctors, and yeah, don't hold us accountable.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, hopefully you'll just be entertained. All right. Do you have a friend with you today, Jason?
My cat is in her tower sleeping.
Okay. I have a little heart. It's a Nito heart.
That
It's
is
a
Nito.
huh?
That
It
is
is
Nito.
Nito. It is Nito. It's a Nito, and it's Nito. All right.
I have
Great.
a comment.
What is your comment?
My comment is for anyone who's moving from the last episode to this one. These are being filmed at the same time, so this is not the only outfit I own. Just throwing that out.
I changed.
Never
Not
change.
very well, but yeah. So, yeah, never change who you are, babe. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and. Did you roll your little eyes at me?
No, I went
Okay.
from looking here to looking there.
Okay. All right. So, we're going to go ahead and get started with 10 signs that you might have ADHD. And the first one is focus difficulties. Now, real quick, I want to clarify that focus difficulties doesn't mean that you have difficulty focusing, that you can't focus on anything. It can mean that you hyperfocus and therefore you cannot focus on other things. So I think that that's been kind of a common misconception of people who have heard the term and have thought that it meant people can't focus on anything. All right. What is your experience with that, if any, Jason?
Well, I had struggles
Yes, you
and
did.
trouble. I had struggles and troubles with focusing, in the sense that it couldn't really happen if the material was not really, really interesting. And it wasn't just I am bored, I want to do other things. It's just I couldn't. You read through something, you get distracted while reading it. You try again, you get distracted. You try to read through it, constantly telling yourself to stay focused on it, and then you're focused on telling yourself to stay focused, and then it doesn't happen. Now, to continue that experience, a few years, maybe 6 years ago, I started bugging out and wanted to talk to a doctor, and I was prescribed Adderall. Adderall did not do what I thought it was, what it was supposed to do. When I called my friend, who's a physician, and this is not meant for anyone other than me, I told him, I don't really feel like things are much different. I said I'm able to stay awake better, and my memory's a little bit better. And he's like, oh, that's kind of what I would expect for people who have ADHD. I'm like, really? I thought people just got like really intensely focused on things. He's like, well, no, not if you need it, usually. And that's kind of a general, broad understanding explanation. And being on that sort of medication does not make you focus. It gives you the ability to focus. You still have to discipline yourself to focus on things that are uninteresting. You can still get distracted by interesting things. You just now are able to focus if you try.
Yes.
That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. I'm on, I guess, the same medication. Is that what we agreed earlier when we were talking?
I'm on Adderall. Whatever you're on is the same.
Yes. And I take a couple of other medications along the way, but for my ADHD, I take Adderall. And what I know is that the combination of medications is working for me. I don't know that I can I guess I can, because one of my problems is that I would hop from thing to thing, but part of that has to do with my bipolar, my mania, but trying to do too much. But the ADHD side of it, I do hyperfixate, but as you said, it does allow me to kind of break away. It gives me the ability to break away if I have other things that I need to do. Um, the other thing is, I feel like it makes me, it allows me to want to do those things. I mean, I would hyperfixate, but the other things I didn't necessarily want to do. If it wasn't that thing, I didn't want to do the other things, but now I can want to do those other things. So that's been my experience with the medication.
Not mine.
No, you
I
can't
still
want
don't. I still don't want to do the things. Moving numbers from one spreadsheet to another is not existentially fulfilling. Adderall doesn't change
Well,
that.
no.
It just allows me to do it.
Yeah. Well, it's not, the want isn't, I mean, I want to do those things, but it's not that I want to do those things because I'm jonesing to do them. It's I want to do them because I know that they need to be done, kind of thing, more than anything. But it and I'm a lot. It allows me to break away from the thing, because I saw this the other day. There's a podcast called ADHD Love, where they talk about autism and ADHD, because one of them has autism and the other has ADHD. And what she explained was the analogy of, as they call it, a torch, because they're Brits, that if you shine a light on something and that's kind of all you see, that's the thing that you're focused on with ADHD. So, in talking to some people with ADHD, that's kind of their experience, that they just get focused on that thing, and that's where they stay. So, yeah. But I feel like I'm better medicated. Not everybody agrees with being medicated. It doesn't necessarily work for them. But for me, it worked.
And if you try a medicine and you're like, hey, I guess that this doesn't work for me, maybe it's just that specific medicine. It's
Right.
worth it to have a second run or a third run, even to find one that works for your specific brain chemistry. Can't really just take one, say, oh, it didn't work, I didn't like what it did to me, and then that's just your life forever now.
Right. And I know that some people, excuse me, one of the things about being ADHD is that there can be issues with substance abuse, alcohol abuse. And I know there are some people who, a couple in particular who I'm talking about, who don't like to take medications because they fear, um, taking medications. And Adderall is a stimulant, and so they try to stay away from that. But the good news is nowadays there are medications that are non-stimulant that are being used to treat ADHD. Again, not a doctor, but if you have fears like some people do of taking stimulants, just in case you didn't know, there are non-stimulant medications available now for ADHD. All right. Anything else to add for that?
No, let's move on.
All right. Number 2 is disorganization.
Well, I can't really speak to this too much because this is where the autism side wins. And
Yeah.
I have to be organized. Things need to be in a very specific order, even. There is no disorganization.
Yeah, my experience is a little different. What I think is autism, I mean, there's a struggle here for me. Um, when I had a job at work, my work area was neat and tidy. Even when I worked at home, my area where I worked was neat and tidy. However, I struggle with my ADHD, as I mentioned, the wanting to do certain things or doing certain things because I overthink everything. It's exhausting. I don't get it done. I can't motivate myself. Medication does help me though, but I struggle with staying organized in things that aren't work related. Work, I was so organized that one day, Laura from where we worked at the same place, she came into the office one day when I was on break and asked the girl who was my office mate if I was there that day. And she said, yeah, she's just on break. And she's like, her desk looks so clean. And she said, that's how she works. So I do have to be organized in work, but at home, I have organized chaos, let's say. I know where things are. No one else can find it, but I know. So there's me with that. So you are organized. All right. We'll move on to number 3. Chronic say the word.
Procrastination.
Thank you. I couldn't get it out. So what about you? Do you feel like you procrastinate?
Define
Or
procrastination. I mean, what is
putting things
procrastination
off,
really?
putting off until next week what you could do yesterday?
Yeah, I would say that it's hard to plan tasks because I'm thinking I don't need to do this until it needs to be done. So all right, I'll put that to the side, and
Yeah.
then whatever the next thing is that a priority item? No, well, I put it to the side. And then if there's nothing urgent, then it's easy to get to leisure items because it's like, yeah, I need to do all those things, but not right now. So,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I need to do all of these leisure things. And had I spread it out and disciplined myself to stick to a schedule, which is difficult if you have ADHD, then things wouldn't be so chaotic last minute.
Yeah. Same. I put things off. However, with the medication, I've gotten better. And the other thing is, it's not just medication, but it's a behavioral thing with me. What I have found is that if I set a time for myself, that's very helpful. If I'm like, okay, I need to go to the store. Okay, I'm going to go to the store at X time. Or if I need to take a shower, which I suck at, ADHD, um, I'll set a time for myself. Okay, because again, I overthink everything and it's so exhausting. So if I set a time for myself, my overthinking doesn't start until it's time for the thing to happen. So I can get to it before I'm too exhausted to get to it. But setting a time and the medication has helped me a great deal in with my procrastination. That doesn't mean that I don't, because I do still. It's a struggle every day. But yeah, I'm trying. All right. Have you tried anything, or do you find that the dopamine reward for doing everything last minute or for doing things well last minute? I don't know if you do, but I usually do things well last minute. So it's almost like it's rewarding the bad behavior.
I find myself not wanting to rush a task and actually do it the right way. And by taking that approach, things are usually happening later than they need to.
Oh, well
Because
then.
I underestimate how much time it'll take to do something. Something I say should only be 15 minutes, I forget that I'm the one doing it, and then I'm reviewing or being meticulous about whatever. All of a sudden,
Right.
it's 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then you stack on 3 tasks. Well, you spent over an hour on something that would have been like 40-ish minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, time blindness. I wonder if that's on our list today. Excuse me.
It is not.
All right. Well,
There's poor time management, but we'll get there.
yes. And failure to finish tasks. Well,
Yes.
as for me, I finish things. Might not be when I wanted to finish them, but I typically finish them. I didn't used to. But again, medication is helping me. That's also part of my mania from bipolar, but The combination of medications that I'm on, it's helping me with that. What about you?
Well, I remember about 3 jobs ago, because I think of my life in chronological events, not years. So about three
Yeah.
jobs ago, my first day, I was given a list of tasks. Now, ideally, you would go down your list of tasks, complete those tasks, and there you go. However, for some people with ADHD, it's let's start every task and not finish any task. And I didn't really realize my entire life that I was that way until that day when my manager asked me what I had finished. It was like I got back from lunch, it was 1:30. All right, so what have you completed from your list? And I looked at it, I'm like, you know what? I haven't completed a single thing. So I was like, all right, what have you been doing for the last 4.5 work hours? Parts of things.
Huh.
So then I had to address that differently, readjust, prioritize, pivot, etc.
Interesting. I did not know that about you. Huh. Okay.
Well, that's what failure to finish tasks is, sort of.
Yeah,
Just get
it
distracted
is.
by each new task.
Yeah. Um, I think that when I think of tasks, I similarly to what you just described, like I think in terms of jobs with tasks, and I know that there are tasks around the house. So there are things that kind of go undone for maybe a while, like if I order a new entertainment center and I'm like so excited and I can't wait for it to come so I can put it together, and then I don't put it together. I mean, I do eventually, but not when I had anticipated that I would. But as far as work goes, I've always been pretty meticulous and organized, as I said previously about work. So things got done, not necessarily as timely as others might like them to be done, but you know, there's that. All right. So now we get to the poor time management, which I think you touched on a little bit when we were talking about the chronic procrastination.
Well, all 3 of those, the chronic procrastination, failure to finish tasks, poor time management, they can be all related.
Right.
So I gave the example of thinking something might take 15 minutes, turns out it's 25. People tend to, okay, I and other people I've spoken to about this tend to really underestimate how long things take to do. And
Right.
distractions aren't taken into account.
Yeah. I mean, and as you said too, it's like when I think, okay, someone else could maybe do this thing in 10 minutes. Well, it's going to take me longer because I'm going to be meticulous. Like an email, for example, that should take you 5 minutes to write. Well, I'm going to reread it. I'm going to rethink my word choices. I'm going to mess with my sentence structure. I mean, it's just a nightmare. So something that maybe would take someone else 5 minutes because I don't want to say don't care, but I'll say they don't care like I do. Um, yeah, that same task is going to take me 30 because I need it to be perfect, even though it's still probably not perfect because I don't think I'm perfect. But yeah, I get what you mean by that. All right. Anything else on poor time management?
I don't think so. Nothing we haven't already covered.
All right. Well, hopefully forgetfulness didn't make us forget anything. You like that segue? So forgetfulness. Sorry. Corny.
Okay. Yeah, forgetfulness is a thing. Now, I don't know if this is a me thing, an ADHD thing, or a people thing. I'm finding that I forget things, but I remember things better if I don't write them down, if I don't take notes. But then it's remembering where I wrote it down that's the issue.
Yeah.
Because if I did write it down, if it's just stuck in my memory, that's great. But sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm thinking about work stuff. If I write stuff down or put it in my calendar, my mind mentally checks out, says, okay, I don't need to think about that because it's on the calendar. Assuming I set it with a reminder, and just that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I have to try really hard to utilize those tools and still remember. But that's not the type of forgetfulness we're talking about, I think. I forgot what I was going to say. That's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
I had a whole thing.
Do you ever walk into a room and say, what the crap did I walk in here for? Maybe not the crap, but why did I walk in here? Because I do that at least a couple times a week. Or why did I pick up my phone? What was I about to do?
Yeah, you set your body on autopilot and your mind goes to the next thought.
Right.
It's it's kind of like a type of task management and disorganization.
Yeah.
You're going to do something, your mind says, I need to do this. It puts your body on autopilot while it goes to think about other things. And then when you get to the point where you need to remember what you were doing, you don't.
Yeah. I can't decide, like, my forgetfulness, if it's, I've had a really good memory in my life. In fact, your Aunt Laura used to comment all the time about what a great memory I had. Of course, my memory was based on, well, we were doing X and it was this day because we did this because of this and that kind of thing. So more associative, I guess. But now I can't decide if I've gotten more forgetful. I can't even remember how to talk, apparently. More forgetful because I'm getting older. Or if it's just more apparent now because that was interesting with your little eyeballs there. Did a circle. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it'd be fun.
It was fun.
For me. I just did it.
For me too. So, yeah. And the other thing is, like, when you're wrapping presents, where the crap did I just put the scissors? And you just had them. Or where did I just put that pen that I just had? Or where did I put my phone? Or, I mean, more and more and more I'm getting like that. So I don't know if it's my ADHD or if it's getting old or a combination of the two. You're getting older too, you know. Just
Aren't
saying.
we all?
Huh?
Aren't we all?
Yes, we are.
So I remember numbers.
Yeah.
So I've been playing some puzzle games recently, some co-op puzzle games, asynchronous, synchronous. Some might involve you figuring out like 4-digit codes. Some are using words to find things. There was an instance recently where I was playing a game, got partway through, saved it. The next day, went to the same game, and there was a section that wanted you to reference a code that you had used earlier in the game. And so I knew what that was. I remembered it. And not like just autopilot, my subconscious did it. Like, I remember the code. I'm like, that's fantastic. How did I remember that? But that happened multiple times with numbers. And then there's another game that relies on you being able to say certain words to cast spells or crack codes or whatever. And those are consistent. And every single time we played, I could not for the life of me remember which words, not even which words did what, but which words were ever used. And it's like, Jason, we just did this multiple times. Like, I don't control my memory.
I don't remember that. Well, a similar thing happened with me remembering with Baldur's Gate 3. That's the game that Jason and I are playing together, but I'm also playing it solo for like the third time. And it's a really good game. I do recommend that.
One of the best games.
Huh?
One of the best games. It's so well written.
So many different endings. But anyway, there's a part where you go down into the vault and you have to enter a code. And prior to going down, you have to get the code, and it's a 4-digit code. Well, I didn't play it for the second time until like a month after I played it the first time. And I was like, I think I remember this code, 1356. And I tried it, and it was it. And it's like there was no reason for me to remember it because I only had to remember it for a moment. but it was still in my head. So I I have a numbers thing too, to some extent. For example, if I'm going
Another
to the
example.
grocery store, huh?
Is that another
My,
example?
yeah, I'm sorry, but you know how I do.
Yep.
Um, when I go to the grocery store, like you were talking about making a list and stuff, well, sometimes I make a list if it's a lot of stuff. But if I just need 4 or 5 things, I'll say those 4 or 5 things in my head and I will tell myself, you need 5 things. Because it's easier for me to remember those things if I tell myself that I need X number of things. That way I don't get out of the store without that number of things. Usually I get out with more than that number of things, but um, that's what helps me remember what I need is by telling myself how many things I need. So, yeah,
Nice.
numbers. All
And then
right. Um,
we segue.
Anything else? Huh?
And then we segue.
Do we? Into
Yes.
impulsivity?
Yes.
Number 7? How
A
is that a
very subtle
segue?
segue.
I sucked at segueing that. Did I?
I don't know.
Anyway, all right. Impulsivity. I have big problems with that. Not as much anymore. I'm a little bit more chill.
I've trained myself to be not as in. So I used to have my wallet or billfold near my computer desk. I no longer do it. I have it on the other side of the apartment. So I can't just impulse buy things that seem cool or interesting. I have to go get my card. And I deliberately don't keep my payment information saved in websites I visit frequently to help prevent me just auto buying things that seem interesting in the moment.
But I thought you remembered all your numbers. Do you intentionally try not to now?
I used to remember my numbers when I would when I enter them online a lot, and I kept
Oh,
buying
okay.
things, and then they just stuck to memory. Now I don't. So I had to, I guess, save me from myself and the impulsivity by putting these systems in place.
Yeah. I have a similar problem where I will spend all my money until I have no money. Of course, part of the problem is I don't make that much money being retired and everything, but um, I struggle with that. I would also say, like, just in general, like all my life, it's like if I decided to do something, like I have never thought through buying a car. I go buy a car when I decide I want to buy a car. I'm like, okay, I want to buy a car. Here's the car I want to buy. I'm going to go buy the car. Probably, excuse me, so sorry. Probably would have served me to have thought it through, but I mean, I've been pretty lucky with my purchases, but still, um, yeah. And the other thing is, if I decide I want to do something, a lot of times it'll be on a whim, which works for me because then I don't have time to overthink it. You know, it works better that way. But I've gotten chill. Any other impulsivity things for you other than spending?
I mean, they're all over the place. I could spend forever going into so many examples,
Yeah.
but that would be doing so would actually be a perfect segue into talking excessively.
What are you trying to say?
Whatever I am saying, it's not excessive.
No, it's me. It's me, guys. I do. And it's not just the info dumping that I mentioned in our last episode. A lot of times it's because I get uncomfortable and I just keep talking and talking and talking. And I am screaming at myself to shut up and I can't. I can't stop talking because I don't know how. So I talk excessively.
The challenge with talking excessively, hyperfixation, and the info dumping, as you're saying, is people will tend to tune out depending on
Yes.
how much you're talking about it uninterrupted. And have you ever been in a conversation with maybe a small group and you realize if I stop talking, no one would pay attention or recognize?
Or they start talking about something else while I'm still talking.
So
which is rude.
I have a problem with the excessive talking and info dumping and the specific interest. Because I've been conditioned out of it. Now I hesitate to share things that interest me or to talk about aspects of my life in general for, I suppose, fear of, I don't know what the word is, mockery.
Yeah.
So now I just don't talk.
Yeah. Well, I got like a dose of this too. Like pretty recently, I ended up quitting an organization that I joined because I felt like, sorry about that, like I was being tuned out and stuff. And I'm like, okay, I know I talk too much, but I'm info dumping because I'm so much older than these people and I've done these things and I know what I'm talking about. But at the end of the day, even though they said they cared, they really didn't, kind of thing. It's like, don't ask me a question if you don't want the answer, because I'm going to give you all the answers. So,
Bro,
sorry about that.
okay, so listen.
I'm listening.
The worst thing in the world, figuratively, when I'm at work and
Good Lord.
yeah,
I'll turn it down.
okay.
Go ahead.
You could tell those MFs to stop talking to you. Anyway, so worst thing in the world is, okay, why?
Is my phone? Okay, I got it.
When I am at work and I ask somebody a question and it's a yes or no, I've already researched it. I've already tried to figure out the answer using all of my resources. And I'm like, okay, I can't find this answer. I type it in the team chat at work. Is it a yes or is it a no? And I swear to God, I don't want to do that because the same one person will then call me and it's a 20-minute conversation. You needed one letter, a Y or an N. That's all I needed from you. 20 goddamn minutes on this call in my busy as hell day to give me the answer and then try to explain why and where or how you find it. I'm like, I know how to find it. It just isn't here for X, Y, Z. That's it. I cannot stand that. I need my time to be used as efficiently as possible. And the repetition of stuff I already know is not that.
Ask the question, answer it.
I have strong feelings about that.
That's funny because, like, as much as I can info dump and I can talk excessively, I have a similar thing though. It's like if I ask somebody something, it's like, just give me the answer, because my mind's already somewhere else doing something else and I don't want to revisit all the stuff that I just know. Yeah. So I think maybe people feel that way about me when I'm info dumping or talking excessively.
Okay.
Food for thought. Thank you. Okay. Excuse me. Executive dysfunction. Here we go. This is me all over. As I said, my medication's helping. So for those who don't know, executive dysfunction is basically not being able to adult successfully, in a manner of speaking. There's more to it than that, but I think I typically associate it with those things that adults do, like making a doctor's appointment or canceling a doctor's appointment or, excuse me, paying bills on time, even though you have the money, paying bills on time, because you just don't feel like dealing with it. That's why auto debit is great. But so I struggle. I struggle again. Behavior, setting times for things to happen. What about you?
That's something I hadn't really thought about until I first learned about what it is. And I get it. There are some things that I need to do that, being responsible in certain ways, and I don't want to, and I'm kind of not really apprehensive, but I know that there's a stressor or anxiety building up inside of me about any regular task, just a little bit. And then once I finally accept the decision of indecision, I'm just going to not do the thing, I feel so much better.
Yeah. What I find frustrating about it, other than just it in and of itself is frustrating, is oftentimes those things that I struggle to do. Like, okay, I mentioned before, like going to take a shower because I just overthink it, whatever. If I set a time, then it's like, okay, I can go do it. But so often, those things that I don't want to do, like call to make a doctor's appointment, how long does that take? 2 minutes, maybe 5 tops. I mean, I don't get put on hold at my doctor's office. So a couple of minutes, and it's like, once I do it, I'm relieved that I did it. And like, then I'm sitting there wondering why the hell I couldn't deal with doing it. But yeah.
And then the worst part of that is if you do that 3 or 4 or 5 times on 3 or 4 or 5 different things, then all of a sudden you're just overwhelmed because you know you have this backlog of items and you don't want to do any of it. When realistically, it might just take you 15 minutes total to do all of them. But you don't see it that way. It's just all of these things I have to do. I'm overwhelmed. It's too much.
Yes. And so there you are, procrastinating and adding to the procrastination. Yeah.
Not managing your time well, and then disorganization and focus difficulties. It's all the same hand in hand sort of thing.
Yes. I mean, it's all like, it's almost cyclical when you look at this list. It's like this leads to this, leads to this, leads to this, leads to this. It's just, I mean, really sometimes the best way I can describe it is nightmarish. Just the way my mind works about it all. And it's so exhausting. It is exhausting for me. I don't know about you, but just makes me want to take naps all the time. All right. But then, here we go. Restlessness.
I don't think I'm restless. I probably rest more, actually. I do all right.
Well, I'm restless. Like, I think that part of me talking with my hands, I'm sitting here rocking, and fidgeting and doing stuff like that. Also, this is like the longest I sit in one place is doing this. Even when I worked at the place where we worked together, the first one, I would constantly print stuff and go get it. Now, some people would wait until they had like a whole slew of stuff to print because, we had swipe cards and you could go and swipe and get all your printed materials at once. But anytime I printed something, I would go get it because I was so restless that I needed to get up and go do something. I couldn't sit still. In fact, in one of my job interviews, that was when they asked me what my one of my weak things, how they do.
Which is not a great interview question, by the way.
Did you say it's not?
It's not. Asking someone their strengths and weaknesses doesn't add value in the way people seem to think.
No.
I'm in HR. I work with recruiters. I do this for a living and have for like 8 years.
Yeah. So when they asked me that in my most recent job, I told them that my restlessness was probably my worst thing. And it's funny because when they called my boss and asked her, and we didn't even plan this in advance, they asked her what my weakness was. And she said that I couldn't sit still. Even though I got my work done, I was up and down a lot because I couldn't sit still. So I thought that was interesting that she saw that in me as well. So it must be true.
Well, you said something about that, the whole needing to be mobile, I suppose.
Yeah.
And that triggered that the idea that I can't sit still.
Yeah.
Like I have to reposition how I'm sitting.
Mm-hmm.
which is usually sitting up straight, cross-legged, or this thing where I'm just extremely slouched and my knees kind of up on my desk. I'm basically resting on my upper back on the chair.
Yeah.
So I kind of segue, and I can't just do that for 5 minutes. It's always like some shiftiness. I'm being shifty.
Did you see me lift myself a little bit ago? That's because I was sitting here on my back, even though I'm crisscross applesauce, as Hartley would say. Yeah. So I think that you're probably pretty restless, Jason, even though you said you're pretty restful. I think you're restless to an extent.
Well, then I just have gotten so used to it, I don't think of it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been pretty prominent in my mind because one of my mom, when she was still living, one of her greatest stories that she loved to tell people is how we went out to eat one time and I was so fidgety and I just couldn't sit still that I ended up falling off the bench that I was sitting on onto the floor. Thanks, Mom. So I've been this way always, I guess. Anywho, that's that. Anything else you want to add about signs of ADHD before we wrap up for the day?
It's infinite, and
Yeah.
I said and then I just stopped.
Yeah, you did. And I said, yeah, because I get it. I don't know what I'm getting, but I'm getting it.
These are all tiers or spectrums or various things. So you might experience some and not others, or others and not some. And that doesn't necessarily mean you do or don't. It's everyone is different. Everyone experiences it differently to different degrees. So,
right.
Oh, and I think something very important about any of what we're talking about. This is going to be, I don't know how well this is going to be taken by some people. Don't let these labels be your personality trait. You are more than just this.
Yes.
It's not that people say, oh, you're autistic, you have autism. I'm like, no, I am this way. It's just who I am. And doctors happen to apply the label. It's really a little saddening and irritating when people get impatient with some of my idiosyncrasies, but when they find out I'm on the spectrum, they're all of a sudden more patient. It's like, why didn't you have that patience just because I'm a human?
Right.
Like, just how I am, regardless of the label.
Right.
So,
that is interesting. And that's another reason, like when in our last episode, we were talking about autism. Well, it's called autism spectrum disorder. And then what we're talking about today is a disorder. And then what we're going to be talking about in our next episode is a disorder, bipolar disorder. But I'm so reluctant to use the word disorder because it's like some people are neurotypical or normal, which I hate that. And some people are neurodivergent. And all it means is that our brains operate differently. Now, the way I kind of like to think about it is genius is a pretty rare thing, right? And that's because the brains are wired differently. But we don't see genius as a disorder, do we? So why do we have to decide that these idiosyncrasies or these things that we do are disorders? Does that make sense what I just said?
To a degree, and we can get into a biological or a neurochemical or philosophical conversation about that, and I do have some thoughts on it, but that is outside the scope of this.
It's what?
Outside the scope of this.
It is. And just so that you know, we will be focusing a lot on autism, bipolar, and ADHD, specifically because that's what we have the most experience with as far as like life experience. But we will be breaking things down more. We will be delving into other areas as we go along. But as I said in our last episode, I have like 200 topics already that I want to go over, and that's going to take some time. So anyway, with that being said, we are going to be covering not top 10, but just 10 signs that you may have bipolar disorder in our next episode. And I hope you'll tune in then. If you think you might have what we've been discussing today, please let us know in the comments. We'd really love to hear from you.
And consult your doctors. We are not they.
That's true. We are not that. We are not that. All right. Bye from me.
Goodbye.
Bye.